Good morning, all of you, online students. Deepak, Rakhi, Radhika, Shrishti, Anurag, Jaskirat. Good morning, all of you. So we had last 3-4 days where we tried to orient you towards the GS courses. So you had one session with the Manoj sir also on polity. I've always said this, कि there are 4 subjects which will become the core of your current affairs. One is environment, second is polity, the third is economy, and the fourth is geography. Okay, when I say polity, I also mean governance. The idea was that in the next 2-3, maybe 2 months you should have a fair amount of grounding on these 4-5 areas. Okay? So Manoj sir had taken one session. He guided you a very high level discussion what polity is. The more important discussion was about your current affairs study, how to pace it. You probably had one class last Friday. Okay, we'll organize that for you. In fact, current affairs ko hum kya karenge? I'll try giving a schedule to you. At what time of the day you must study what, and then we'll try revising the content over 1 year. Hello Bilal, good morning. Good morning Vasudev. Good morning. Yes. So today we are starting off your topic-wise discussion. The first unit of our GS course will be geography. Geography. We will follow this with environment. So good about 50 or 55 days का sessions होगा geography environment के साथ में. And some of you probably have geography optional. Okay, can you tell me how many of you class में भी? So 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. ठीक है, 5 of you. And how many of you in the online class? Deepak, Radhika, Shrishti, Anurag, Sutosh, okay, Shreyan. So look here. Those who have optional. There are 2 parts. One is geography, one is environment. Environment for GS is fairly different and more detailed. Okay, so the GS environment jo hoga, this is more detailed than the optional classes. Optional is more around the concepts. You have to know some of those theories maybe, environment mein. But in the GS, okay, it is far more detailed. So environment important hai. In the geography, the optional classes, these are more detailed. For the GS, we will have a good overlap, but my suggestion is do not miss the GS class of geography. But there are some facts, some terms. Those who are optionals, you definitely will understand this much better. Okay, but don't skip the classes because you have geography optional. Because there are some facts, I'll start today itself. There are some concepts, some terms, which are not taught in optional in detail. Okay. Now in GS geography, there are 3 focus areas. One is climatology. You will find most questions. I think we had an analysis also last week. We had done something. You'll find most questions in geography GS are from topics of climate. You must know about the winds. You must know about cyclones. They ask fairly commonly about temperatures and link this with climate change. तो ये एक core area, एक focus area होगा. Second focus area will be vegetation and life forms. Okay, which is about what type of forest is where, what type of species are where, and this life form vegetation you must link with environment topics. ये link हो जाएगा. And the third focus area थोड़ा miscellaneous है, but the focus includes some discussion oceans, some discussions on resources, Resources, I'm talking about mineral resources. There will be some discussions on energy resources. Okay. और इसके साथ में even some discussions on industries. These are the 3 focus areas for geography GS. Syllabus तो बहुत बड़ा है in geography, but not all must be studied in equal depth. I repeat, the focus area is climatology, about the climate, the winds, the cyclones, okay, the temperature issues, and link that with climate change. Yes, Aditi. Yes. Hi, Yashwardhan, Ganesh. Hello. So I'm giving an idea about what will be our focus of study. So one will be climatology, climate discussion. The second focus area will be vegetation, life forms. This is what in geography we call as biogeography. We call this section as biogeography, vegetation and life forms. And you must link this with some topics of environment, the species, the conservation. So ये environment के साथ में overlap हो जाएगा. The third area of focus is, I call it miscellaneous, because there are some questions from oceans and there are good number of questions from resources and industries. Resources and industries. Resources include minerals. Resources includes energy resources. When I say energy, I'll also talk about the renewable energy resources. We'll talk about non-conventional energy resources, solar energy, nuclear energy, wind energy, again so on. And industries, industrial location, industrial patterns, okay. A lot of discussions will also be around some of the policies that we have. What are the policies for industrial development, industrial growth, how industries are set up, what are the factors. So ये आपका 3 focus areas in geography है. So one mistake students do is that we spend too much time. One of you can say a wrong strategy. One of the wrong strategy is focusing too much on geomorphology. Morphology in GS. Geomorphology का मतलब क्या होता है? The study of landforms, the study of denudation, the study of plate tectonics. Okay, the topic called geomorphology includes the study of landforms. What type of landforms? River landforms, landform because of waves, landforms because of winds erosion, the deserts, landforms because of glaciers and so on. We spend too much time on this. We spend too much time on denudation processes. Erosion कैसे होता है, deposition कैसे होता है, the role of rivers and so on, and the plate tectonics. Now this area, there are not too many questions. Not too many questions. So we will not do too much of this. I'll try to shorten this one. I need to get back into this area. These are the questions they ask you more from geography, climatology, vegetation, ocean resources and industries. ठीक है? इसके अलावा there is one more area again is part of a wrong strategy है. Strategy is that we miss discussing demography, population and cultural issues. This is part geography plus it is part society. Okay, ये एक मिस हो जाता है. Lot of classes do not do this properly. Demography, as in our population, sex ratio, literacy rates, the growth rates and so on. Okay, population size, aging population, the problems of TFR decline or increase, labor issues are there, okay, plus issues of culture, language, talk about religion, caste diversities and so on. So I am telling this to you because I want that आप लोग ये पूरा design समझें. You understand how the course is being structured and what will our focus areas be. So these topics I will do partly in geography, but will cover partly in society. Okay. In geography, demography is part of the studies. Take all of you. So this is one mistake we do. We miss this. We put too much of time on geomorphology, okay, and we don't do justice with these topics. So accordingly, I will manage. Okay? Okay, let's get started then. Any questions online? Any questions offline? Which पूछना है आपको? Any questions? So I always stress on this, that at your level of study and the type of demand the examination has, you should not be studying mechanically. Okay. Yes, for the first 1 or 2 weeks, when you get the groove, तो ठीक है, जो हम कह रहे हैं आप पढ़ें, but eventually you must understand why we are teaching what. You must know the question paper very well. We had one session of analysis last week. हम ये दोबारा कराएंगे आपसे. आपको पता होना चाहिए what type of questions are asked, what are the focus areas, and you must challenge me wherever possible. कि सर आपने ये पार्ट क्यों छोड़ा है, ये पार्ट क्यों ज्यादा पढ़ाया है, why this area is discussed in the way we are discussing. ठीक है. Ganesh, any magazine you can take up for current affairs. Generally, जो आपके magazines होते हैं, I will recommend follow something on environment. Okay, environment के लिए एक down to earth है. This is a good one, but I do not know how much of this you can do properly. There is one magazine, EPW, Economic and Political Weekly. इसमें बहुत variety of articles आती हैं. On economy, on polity, on governance, on environment. Okay. And third, I will suggest our own in-house publication called as Cosmos. So what I'm doing is, I'm compiling all of this into Cosmos. Cosmos is published 15 days में. I think next issue आपका आने वाला है 24th को आएगा. Every 15 days, we come up with a compilation on environment and geography. ठीक है, उसमें कुछ questions भी होते हैं. There are some previous years topics also, plus some discussions which are detailed. So if you if you take my suggestion, I will suggest you do Cosmos. You start from now itself, Ganesh. Start from now. And whatever weekly compilations we have, you keep pace with us, Ganesh. Yes, Cosmos with K. K-O-S-M-O-S. Cosmos. Okay, so what we do is, we are searching all the important environment topics across different sources. Newspapers में जो आ रहा है, जो आपके magazines में आ रहे हैं, कोई websites हैं, उससे आ रहा है. We compile all of that, and every 15 days we try to update it. Remember one thing, in current affairs, okay, one is study in depth. This is detailed. And the second is, you must have a broad coverage of many topics without or too much of details. Now, the challenge students face is how to know which topic to study in detail and which topic to touch and move on. एक challenge होता है. Okay. इसके अलावा, the second challenge students you will face is the compilation part. आपने पढ़ तो लिया है, but how do you compile it? How do you organize in your notes? Okay. So, source is not as important. The more important is which topic to study in detail, which topic to touch and move on. And once you've studied, how to compile it, how to make notes, how to summarize it, how to memorize it. ये challenge आता है. So my suggestion is don't bother about the source for now. आप source क्या रखो? Keep the source as Cosmos. It is free on the website. आप हमारे Edukemy वेबसाइट में जाओ, ऊपर रिसोर्सेज सेक्शन होगा. अगर दिक्कत है हम बता देंगे क्लास के बाद. I'll tell that to you after the class. Okay, so you follow this one and you go with what we are doing. So some topics we'll cover in detail, some topic will touch and go. Just keep pace with it. ठीक है? Yes, we'll do that, Masroof. We'll do that. Okay, that's starting off. Now about your books, about your reference books in geography. I think I mentioned this already to you. You have to follow NCERT books. NCERT books class 6 से 10 तक करो plus 11th and 12th also. Okay. And apart from this, I said you keep this book, Indian Geography by D.R. Kuller. By D.R. Kuller. But remember, the NCERT books को आप detailed पढ़ाई करेंगे. So go by page, topic by topic. But the D.R. Kuller is only for reference. Please don't read the whole book. That's a mistake. This book is recommended for the students of Geography Optional. Indian Geography by D.R. Kuller. ये reference के लिए होगा. Buy the book because you'll need some bit of references. Otherwise, आप NCERT के साथ ही रहेंगे largely. Class 6 to 10th plus some readings of 11th and 12th. Okay, that's your references, and you can largely follow the notes. Whatever I give you, will follow the notes. Masroof will let you know. No, Priya, if you are a geography optional student, you need not buy any different book. The same books you have, we'll try to use that and repeat with those. Hello, Rizwan. Hello, welcome to have you on board. Okay, so we start off now. I'll start off with something about space, solar system. Okay, study of some details and facts about the space missions. Okay, so this is the topic I'm starting with, the space and the solar system, and some details about the space missions. Okay, so now you write on point by point. The first point is, okay, Earth and the solar system. You please keep writing. I write on the board because it helps me maintain the pace for your notes taking. Okay, हम जो भी पढ़ाएंगे, you must write down your notes. Earth and the solar system is a part of a galaxy called as Milky Way. Okay, Milky Way is the name of the galaxy that Earth belongs to. What is a galaxy? Galaxy is a collection of lot of stars, collection of lot of solar systems, collection of constellations, galaxies. Galaxy essentially is a collection of stars and a solar systems. There are billions of galaxies. Okay, जो अर्थ जो बिलोंग करता है उसका नाम है द मिल्की वे. In Hindi we call this as Akash Ganga. It's like a belt of stars and constellations we have. In Hindi it's called as Akash Ganga. It's called as the Akash Ganga. Now, just for your understanding, remember, this Milky Way is part of Orion sector. The universe में कुछ identified some areas. One such area is called as the Orion sector. Orion, Orion sector. The Milky Way belongs to this Orion sector. Okay. The third is our Milky Way, our galaxy Milky Way is an example of a spiral galaxy. Example of spiral galaxy. The shape of our galaxy is something like this. Something like this. It spirals. So there are many types of galaxies. Okay, there are many types of galaxies. For example, there are spiral galaxies, there are elliptical galaxies, there are lenticular galaxies, lenticular. There are lenticular galaxies. There are globular galaxies, and there are irregular. There are different shapes. Like in terms of types of galaxies, the galaxies can be spiral, the galaxies can be elliptical, the galaxies could be lenticular. Okay, they could be globular, they could be irregular. Our Milky Way is an example of spiral. Milky Way is an example of a spiral galaxy. All done till here? Okay. The next fact. The galaxy nearest to Milky Way is Andromeda galaxy or Andromeda. Some write as DEA, some may write as DA. Andromeda, ANDROMEDEA or MEDA. Andromeda galaxy. This is the nearest galaxy to Milky Way. The next fact is that you must not confuse galaxies with constellations. Galaxies versus constellations. Okay, constellations. CONSTELLATION. Galaxies versus constellations. So galaxies kya hai? These are collection of solar systems. Galaxies, okay, they will have billions of solar systems plus billions of stars. This is essentially a group of stars. They are group of stars. Okay, so I think the most famous group of star we know is the Great Bear. The Great Bear, also called as the Great Dipper. हिंदी में बोलते हैं सप्तश्री मंडल. I'm sure you have heard about this or okay, seen like ऐसे है, the 7 stars, something like this kind. This is a constellation. The Great Bear, also called as the Great Dipper, also हिंदी में बोलते हैं सप्तश्री मंडल. Example of a constellation. Okay. Constellation. Just know that is the Great Bear है. If you join the 2 stars here and extend it, they will meet at the North Star. Not North Pole. North Star. North Star helps us keep our direction towards, it's called the Pole Star. Don't say North Pole. North Star, also called as the Pole Star. Okay? If you join the first 2 stars of the Great Bear and extend it like this, it will join the star called as the North Star, also called as Pole Star. So constellations क्या हैं? They are group of stars. एक और example of constellation है Okay. Orion. Orion is like, this is the hunter. It's called as the hunter. Essentially, there are something like night sky. अगर देखेंगे आप, ये ऐसे दिखता है. Okay, it's like this. This is the build of the star. One arm like this, one arm this, one arm this, and one arm this. Orion is one of the constellations. Similarly, we have Leo constellations. We have Scorpio constellation. We have Cassiopeia constellations. They are group of stars. So, up night sky, if some of you are interested, you can see all of this in the night sky. Okay, so I want to differentiate what is a galaxy and what is a constellation. Galaxy is a group of solar systems. It has groups of stars and billions of them. Constellations are essentially, okay, some pattern in the sky. In the sky, you can see some pattern, okay, and they are group of stars. Some examples I gave you. Examples, the group of stars. All good here? You just know some names, that's all. Scorpio constellation, Leo constellation, Orion constellation. Okay, we have the Cassiopeia, Cassiopia. Yeah, Yashvardhan. Generally, constellations, not all of them are part of a galaxy. अलग-अलग गैलेक्सी अलग-अलग part होते हैं. So think of our Milky Way. Milky Way is part of the Orion sector. Okay, so not all galaxies will have all the constellations. Some of them are part from galaxies, some can part of another galaxy. Okay, that's about this fact. The next fact. Okay, the next fact is that our solar system, if you know the sequence, we have the sun, we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. I believe you know this. Okay, this is Mercury, this is Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. Uranus and Neptune. A sequence में Pluto used to be a planet. Now we have decided that it is not a planet. So from 9 planets, we now have 8 planets. I believe you know this. Now, ये जो पहले 4 हैं, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, these are called as inner planets. They are also called as terrestrial planets. The inner planets also called as terrestrial planets. Why terrestrial? Because they are relatively more like Earth. Okay, they are solid. Okay, in fact, Venus or Mars का size Earth से काफी comparable है. Okay, so they are called inner planets, also called as terrestrial. Okay, because they are more like Earth. In fact, Venus is called as Earth's twin. Venus is called as Earth's twin because of its size, its weight. Okay, it's very similar to Earth. Venus is also a very bright one in the sky. It's also called as the morning star. It's also called as the evening star. Just before the sunrise, you can see Venus, and even after sunset, you can see Venus. It's very, very bright. Okay, and otherwise, Mars भी Earth से काफी similar है. One similarity of Mars is the axial tilt, the tilt of the planet. The tilt of Mars is very similar to tilt of the Earth. Tilt of Mars is very similar to the tilt of the Earth. They also have relatively comparable densities and size. Okay? But remember, when they ask you Earth's twin, don't say Mars, it is Venus. And Mars is also called as the red planet. It's also called as the red planet. Yes, they are like Earth, they have rocks. Okay, so yes, you're right. Now, जो बाकी चार हैं, these four, they are called as the outer planets. Outer planets, these are more gaseous. They do not have as much of rocks that Earth has. They're relatively more gaseous. They are large. They have less density. Okay, and they are more like Jupiter. These planets are more like Earth, so called as terrestrial. ये जो चार planets हैं, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they're called outer planets. Okay, they are more gaseous. Okay, they are large. They have less densities. They are more like Jupiter, and therefore they're called as the Jovian planets. Jovian. They're called as the Jovian planets. Okay, so they are more like Jupiter. Now, just some miscellaneous facts. Mein. Okay, remember that Mercury has no atmosphere. It also has Mercury has one of the longest time for revolution. Mars is called as the red planet. Okay, red planet. Then, sorry, Mercury. Yes, sorry. Longest time of rotation hai. It takes lot of time to rotate. A revolution chota hoga. It takes lot of time to rotate. Mars is called as the red planet. Then we have Jupiter mein. There is something called as the giant red spot. There is a giant red spot. This actually is an anticyclonic storm hai in the Jupiter's atmosphere. It's called as the giant red spot. Okay, nobody knows. Abhi bhi researches hai. They do not know why it is formed. It is an anticyclonic storm. It's a gas which is turning. Okay, it's an area of a high pressure. Any anticyclone is a high pressure. वो Jupiter में है. Okay. Then I talked about Mars. Mars is also called as the red planet. Mars का जो axial tilt है, it is comparable to that of Earth. Comparable to that of Earth. And we have lot of Mars probes हैं, and they have found evidences of water. There are Mars mission hai, plus there are lot of Mars probes. They are like robots on the Mars, and they have found evidence of water. Okay, there are some formations जो कि सिर्फ वाटर से ही बन सकता था. सो अगर अभी नहीं है तो मे बी इन द पास्ट मार्स हैड सम वाटर. ओके और एक इंपॉर्टेंट फाइंडिंग है that Mars also has evidence of tectonics. Mars also has evidence of tectonics. What I mean by this is, देखो, this is the interiors of a planet. Inside the planet, there are some molten matter which are moving. And because of this movement, some things can change here. Okay. So, this presence of molten matter, the presence of molten matter in the interiors of the planet, okay, associated volcanism and impact on the surface. The presence of molten matter inside the interiors of a planet. कि planet है उसके अंदर में कुछ rocks molten है, magma is moving, something is happening. Presence of molten matter in the interiors of the planet. इसके वजह से I can have volcanism. Some lava comes out, the lava comes out. Associated volcanism plus how it impacts the Earth's surface or any planet surface. Some rocks are formed here, some things can start moving here. Now, if a planet has these things, अगर किसी के पास ये चीज है, it is very likely that planet can have water. Okay, जो whatever water we have, water comes from the interiors of Earth. Remember this. पानी बाहर से नहीं आया है. So these phenomena are associated with formation of water and also formation of atmosphere. One question we have is, okay, from where has Earth's atmosphere come? इसका आंसर है, जो गैसेस निकलती हैं वो अंदर से ही निकलती हैं. Okay, the gases are not coming from outside the space. Whatever gas we have, carbon dioxide hai, we have nitrogen gases, okay, we have sulfur compounds, nitrogen compounds, all of that must have, even water has come from interiors. So ये जो चीज है, this one, the presence of molten matter, okay, plus volcanism, plus some impact, this is what is called as tectonics. This is called as tectonics. Tectonic जो word है, it comes from the word technology, technique, okay, which means building, कुछ बन रहा है. Okay, plate tectonics is linked to the formation of the earth, is linked to the creation of the features on the earth. So any planet जिसमें के tectonics है could mean there is water. It could mean it has atmosphere. It could mean there could be life processes also. That's why ये बहुत significant discovery है. And what we have found is that Mars में there are evidences of tectonics and evidences of water. So we have to confirm this, study more. Okay, even Earth, even India is sending a mission to Mars, Mangalyaan, and all of that together. So just know this for now. Miscellaneous में know that mission Mars, okay, and the probe have proved that there is some evidence of water, plus there's evidence of tectonics, okay, on Mars. अगर ये है तो life possible है. Okay, we'll come back on this a bit later. Okay, that's one fact. Another fact you should know is, I said Jupiter is the largest planet. It is gaseous planet. It is largest, but its density is less than 1. Okay, so we say Jupiter is capable of floating on the waters of the earth. इतना हल्का है that Jupiter can float on, okay, the waters, the oceans of the earth. और यहीं पर just know this, that the densest planet of our solar system is Earth. The densest planet of solar system is Earth. It has a density of about, anybody knows how much? About 5. Earth का density is about 5. 5.5 के range में है. It is the densest planet, and Jupiter is lighter. It can float on the oceans of the Earth. अच्छा, next just know this. जो rings हैं, rings, these are okay, characteristics of Saturn. Okay, Saturn, around Saturn, there are a lot of rings like this. Lot of rings. The rings are rocks, asteroids, gases, dust particle. Okay, the rings, they are characteristics of Saturn. Okay, another fact is Uranus. Uranus का जो axis है is horizontal. Axis of Uranus is horizontal. Axis होता है क्या है? Axis is an imaginary line about which a planet spins. Okay. Hi Rajesh, good morning. Okay, so what is the axis? So if this is the planet here, this is one line. About this line, the planet is spinning. So imagine if a planet has an axis which is horizontal. का मतलब क्या है? It is spinning. Okay, it's like the spinning tumbling चल रहा है. This is spinning. Okay, and this is like, it is rolling like this. Uranus has this eccentric behavior. Okay, Uranus का जो axis है is horizontal, and therefore Uranus tumbles and rolls. Uranus tumbles and rolls, unlike the other planets. So this is more of those trivia topics which I expect that पता होना चाहिए आपको. Nothing very spectacular in terms of facts. Okay. Next, just know this. जो अर्थ का टिल्ट है, Earth's tilt is 23.5 degrees to the vertical. This is the Earth here. This is the vertical line. The axis of Earth is inclined like this, and this angle is 23.5. This angle will be 66.5. I believe you know this. ठीक है? So Earth's axis is tilted. Okay. Earth का spin along this होता है. And just one point here, the significance of the tilt क्या है? The significance of this tilt is the seasons on the Earth. Earth would not have seasons if Earth did not have the tilt. The seasons of the Earth. ठीक है? Fine, let's move on then. Next. So I gave you some facts. It was point number what? 5 or 6? क्या लिखा था मैंने? Point number 5? No. Yeah, 5. Okay. Six now. Let's talk about asteroids. Let's talk about asteroids. So these are broken rocks. Okay. These are large chunks of matter, probably from a planet that did not form completely, or it may have exploded. क्या सोर्स है अभी भी डिबेटेड है. What are asteroids? Asteroids are broken rocks. Okay, a lot of rocks. They are large chunks of matter. Dust भी है. Some of them are big enough like Earth's moon also. Okay, and they probably are from what? Probably are from a planet that did not form completely. एक बन रहा था planet, वो बन नहीं पाया. या फिर there was a planet that exploded. These are found, asteroids हैं. They are found between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. Asteroid belt है between the Mars and Jupiter. Asteroid belts, and three of them are very big. There are three very big asteroids, okay, called as Ceres, Vesta, and Pallas. Ceres, Vesta, and Pallas. Pallas. These three asteroids, they make up almost 50% of the mass of the asteroids, of all the asteroids. Ceres, Vesta, and Pallas. They make up 50% of the mass of all the asteroids. In fact, there is a orbiter, like NASA orbiter called as Dawn. NASA orbiter called Dawn is one of the missions of NASA. I'll talk about some of them today, called Dawn. And Dawn has been sent to Ceres and Vesta. It has been sent to Ceres and Vesta. Orbiter का मतलब होता है a spacecraft which is orbiting somebody, not landing on it. This project's name is the Dawn mission. It's called as the Dawn mission. Dawn mission has been sent to orbit Ceres and Vesta. And the objective is to study about the origin of the solar system. Study the origin of Earth's sun's solar system. कि कैसे बना है. Okay? So, Ceres and Vesta and Pallas, the big ones. Okay. Now, Ceres, because it is big enough, Ceres is also called as a dwarf planet. It looks like a planet, okay, but a smaller one. Sometimes Ceres, Ceres, is also called as dwarf planet. DWARF, dwarf planet. Okay. Now there are dangers. Right on this point here, that there are dangers about the asteroids hitting the Earth. There are dangers about the asteroids hitting the Earth, which can impact which can impact life on Earth. Which can impact life on Earth. There are some missions. Okay. Therefore, some missions of NASA, some missions of European Space Agency. NASA belongs to US. European Space Agency, a consortium. It includes France, Britain, some milker, called as European Space Agency. Okay, they are studying how to deflect and destroy asteroids that threaten the Earth. How to deflect and how to destroy asteroids that threaten the Earth. एक ऐसा एक मिशन है of NASA. One such mission of NASA is called as the DART mission. The DART mission is that of NASA. DART का full form है, लिखो. DART, full form of DART is Double Asteroid Redirection Test. Double Asteroid Redirection Test, called a DART mission. इसमें करते क्या हैं? Basically, they have an asteroid and they send a spacecraft. The spacecraft collides on this. Because of collision, the asteroid is deflected. ये घूम जाता है. It's like an accident that forces the asteroids to change its course. Okay, that's why this is also an example of okay, a kinetic impactor test. Example of kinetic impactor test. Okay, इसमें करते क्या है? Write down. A fast moving spacecraft is made to deliberately collide with asteroids, to deflect them. Okay, so जो DART mission है, DART mission, NASA is trying to deflect an asteroid called as Dimorphos. It is trying to deflect an asteroid called as Dimorphos. Dimorphous. Called as Dimorphos. Yeah, इसमें कुछ समझना कुछ है नहीं ज्यादा कुछ. Just know that it is a kinetic impactor. Kinetic का मतलब ही होता है something is moving, okay, and impacts. Because of impact, the direction can change. Okay, you must know this fact. DART mission, okay, it is sent to one called as Dimorphos. Okay, and know the name called as Ceres and Vesta, the largest ones of the asteroid belt. Okay, that's for this much. The next fact, there is a belt called as Kuiper belt. A belt called as the Kuiper belt. Now, Kuiper belt is again, okay, a collection of rocks, okay, protoplanets, as in small planets just forming of rocks, protoplanets, and dwarf planets beyond Neptune. Kuiper belt. The Kuiper belt is a source of many comets. The Kuiper belt is the source of many comets. I'll talk about what comets are. Kuiper belt. Pluto belongs to the Kuiper belt. Pluto belongs to the Kuiper belt. जैसे एस्ट्रॉइड बेल्ट बिटवीन मार्स एंड जुपिटर है, वैसे ही कुछ एक बेल्ट नेपच्यून के बाद में है, इज कॉल्ड एज कुपियर बेल्ट. जस्ट नो दिस नेम. ओके. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस, देयर इज ऑल्सो वन मोर बेल्ट कॉल्ड एज द ऊट क्लाउड बेल्ट. एक है कुपियर बेल्ट और एक है ऊट क्लाउड, OORT, ऊट cloud belt. Now this is at the margins of the solar system. This is at the margins of the solar system. It is much larger than Kuiper belt. It is much larger than Kuiper belt. It has more of gases, ice, and dust. It has more of gases, of ice and dust. Oort cloud. Okay. Some comets originate from the Oort cloud. Some comets originate from the Oort cloud. But ये भी लिखो आप that some consider that the Oort cloud belt is a hypothetical, कि शायद नहीं है, it's more of a mathematical conclusion. It is probably more of a hypothetical belt. It's imaginary belt. It's more of a mathematical conclusion than a physical reality. Okay, just know these terms. What is asteroid belt? What is the Kuiper belt, and what is the Oort cloud belt? So now, let me talk about comets. Talk about the comets. Now, comets are large bodies. They are rocks that have orbit around the sun. That have orbit around the sun. But they are not like planets. Comets जो होते हैं, they are not like planets. Okay, इसका 3 difference है. One is they are much smaller than planets. That's one. Number 2, they have got very elliptical orbits. The comets, they also have an orbiting belt around the sun. But ये planets नहीं है. I guess if I draw this, imagine ये sun है. This is an orbit of planet Mercury, orbit of Earth, orbit of maybe Saturn, orbit of maybe Neptune. Okay. But if you look at the orbit of a comet, okay, it will be something like this. Very elliptical. It can go beyond solar system also. Okay, so this is the comet. It's much, much smaller. These are relatively more circular. This is highly elliptical. Okay, elliptical. And then comets will have a typical feature called as the coma and the tail, COMA, called as the coma and the tail. Coma is the comet's atmosphere, वो gases होते हैं. Okay. The coma is the comet's atmosphere. Okay. And tail जो है, tail is gases and dust and ice. The tail is the gases, the dust and the ice crystals thrown towards one direction. Okay, away from the sun. And within bracket write down, the tail of comets develop as the comets come nearer to the sun. The tail of comets are formed because of the solar winds and radiation from sun. And hence they are directed away from the sun. The tail is directed away from the sun. Now look at this diagram. Say this is the sun here, and this is, say, the elliptical orbit of the comet. As, say, a comet is here, this comet will have its atmosphere and dust and gases like this. It has the coma. As it comes nearer, there are radiations from the sun, the solar winds from the sun. Because of this, as it comes nearer, this comet, which is atmosphere hai, it starts getting pushed like this. Now this becomes a tail. These winds will push it like this. It comes nearer, this is the tail. It comes nearer, this is the tail. It comes here, then this is the tail. It comes here, this is the tail. It comes here, this is the tail. Very far away, atmosphere. तो tail जो है हमेशा sun के against होगा. Okay? Why? Because you have direction of the solar wind, the radiations. It will push, and all of this is small dust particles, gases, like a lot of ice crystals are here. It gets pushed out. Yes, Raju, comets have their own light, correct? So they are neither planets, nor are they stars, nor are they satellites. ये अलग type के bodies हैं. Okay, not as large as planets, and not as large as stars or planets. And as they come nearer, they develop a tail. The most famous one being the Halley's comet. I am sure you've heard about this one. Okay, it has a periodicity of, I think, 74, 78 years, I forget. Okay, there is one called as a Halley's comet. It's one of the most popular celestial bodies among the comets. Okay, the tail is always directed away from the sun. Now there was a probe again वन फैक्ट यहां पर है, यूरोपियन स्पेस एजेंसी, इट हैज लॉन्च्ड a mission called as the Rosetta mission. जैसे आपका मिशन था for asteroids called as DART by NASA. The European Space Agency have one called as the Rosetta mission, ROSETTA, Rosetta mission. In this mission, the objective was that there would be an orbiter plus landing of a probe. They would land a probe on the comet, an orbiter around the comet and a probe. Probe is a robot. Okay, so अगर ये comet है, there is one body which will orbit it, plus यहीं से एक probe भी जाएगा जो land करेगा. Okay, and the objective was to study the comets and study the origin of the space, the solar system, study of origin of the space of solar system. Okay, and the comet, this Rosetta mission, this was for the comet. Comet का नाम है Comet 67P. It's also called as Churyumov, Churyumov. It's also called as Churyumov, Churyumov comet or comet 67P. This mission was sent to this one. Yes, I think this was in 2004, 2005. This was the first mission to a comet. This was the first mission to a comet. Okay. So that's about the comet. Now, you must know two more terms. Comets 9 था, ठीक है. Now two more terms you should know. One is what are quasars? What are quasars? Quasar is short form of quasi stellar objects. Quasi-stellar objects, quasars. Quasars are actually galaxies. There are galaxies deep inside the universe. The galaxies deep inside the universe with a black hole at their center. With a black hole at their center. They are associated with powerful supernova explosions. Supernova explosions. Supernova का मतलब होता है a star which has exploded. Okay. So these explosions, they are part of the creation of celestial bodies. These explosions, they can start off the creation of stars. एक स्टार था, वो एक्सप्लोड हो गया, टूट गया, उससे फिर स्टार्स बनते हैं, उससे फिर सोलर सिस्टम्स बनते हैं. तो सुपरनोवा एक्सप्लोजन्स, they are the origin of the universe. They are the origin of the universe. ऐसे बहुत सारे explosions हैं. Okay, so quasars are very, very far away galaxies They are galaxies in the deep universe. Inside those quasars are black holes or supernova explosions, and therefore they shine very brightly. Because explosions हैं ये, therefore they shine very brightly. Quasars are considered to be one of the key to understanding the origin of our universe. Have heard about this telescope called as James Webb telescope? सुना है आपने? Okay, James Webb telescope recently launched. Okay. This telescope is studying quasars. It is studying quasars. In fact, इसके पहले एक और भी रहा है, the Hubble telescope. So all of them are studying the origin of the universe. So quasars are one of those objects they study, quasars. Okay. Now, one more fact, life cycle of stars. Which terms मैंने use किया, I'll clarify that. Life cycle of the stars. Okay. See, all the celestial bodies we have, वो planets हो, वो stars हो, कुछ भी हैं, the beginning is always some cloud. This is a cloud. It is shapeless. It has dust particles. It has ice. Okay. It has unknown matter. ये unknown matter क्या बोलते हैं? Is also called as the dark matter. हमें पता ही नहीं क्या है. Okay. This body is called as the nebula. The beginnings of any star, any solar system, any planet का beginnings होता है from a cloud of dust. Okay, it is shapeless, it will have ice, it will have lot of unknown matter called as dark matter. Okay, and this is called as the nebula. ये nebula का okay, two pathways है. This nebula can become a very large star or can become a regular star. It can become a very large star, it can become a average star, it can become a regular star, or it can become a very, very massive star. These are some mathematical limits. You can skip all of that. The nebula can become either of this. If it becomes an average star and it explodes, it forms what's called as a red giant. There's a nebula. The nebula becomes a star. The star explodes. It becomes a red giant. Okay. From this red giant, there will be another planetary nebula, and from this nebula we can have a cold dead star. It's called as white dwarf. ये एक sequence है. I will have a nebula. The nebula becomes a regular star or a normal star. It can die off and become a red giant. The red giant can become a planetary nebula. इससे बन सकता है planets. Or it becomes cold. It's called as a white dwarf. W-H-I-T, white dwarf. D-W-A-R-F. it becomes a white dwarf. Okay, ये एक sequence है. The other sequence is, it can become a massive star, a very large star, and this massive star can become a super red giant, much bigger than this one. The super red giant, इसका जो explosion होता है, इसको बोलते हैं super nova explosion. It becomes a massive star. The massive star converts into a red giant. Okay, the star is now dying. Okay, think of the sun can become a red giant. It explodes. It's called a supernova explosion. And this explosion के दो consequence होगा. One can be, it can become a black hole. It's like a dead star. It becomes a black hole. Or it becomes a neutron star. It becomes a neutron star. So the physics part of this we'll skip. You must just know some facts. Okay. So, agar nebula hai, a regular star will become a white dwarf. A massive star becomes either a black hole, or it becomes a neutron star. ठीक है? Now, ये जो black holes होते हैं, let me just give you 2-3 points here. This black hole, therefore is what? It's essentially a dead star. Black hole is what? It is essentially a dead star. A dead star which has very, very high mass and gravity. इसके बहुत ज्यादा mass है because formed from a massive star, very high density, very high gravity. इतना powerful gravity है that it can swallow anything, including light. If you put light on a black hole, the light won't come back. That is why it looks black. How do you see any body? कोई भी body अगर होता है दिखता कैसे हमें? There is some source of light. The light falls. The light reflects back and it hits my eye. I can see it. But light अगर वापस ही नहीं आएगा और अंदर रह जाएगा, it look black in color. So black hole essentially is a very large star. It is a dead star. It has very, very high mass, very, very high gravity. इतना powerful है, it can swallow anything. There is one speculation that our solar system can be swallowed by a black hole. पूरा खा जाएगा. Okay, and it can also absorb light. So you say the three things. One is study of black holes. Around this point here, a study of black holes can tell us about the origin of our universe. Can tell us about the origin of the universe. Number two, black holes can suggest how some stars and solar systems can end. How some stars and solar systems can end. अभी recently 2-3 महीने पहले न्यूज में था that we have discovered a black hole near our solar system. It's possible that black hole can absorb our solar system completely. तो कोई भी लाइफ साइकिल में खत्म कैसे होगा, शुरू कैसे होगा ब्लैक होल से. And the next is of course, okay, black holes Black holes are a way of understanding, the fundamental particles that make up our universe. Fundamental particles that make up our universe. Okay? And just know this, ये जो black holes होते हैं, go back here, these black holes, they can finally become, okay, write down this point here, the black holes can finally become, okay, pulsating stars. They're like, okay, pulse, like some light's coming, some light is again switching off. They are called as pulsars. They can finally become pulsating stars called as pulsars. Pulsars. Pulsating stars. So what are comets? What are black holes? What are asteroids? What's asteroid belt? What is Kuiper's belt? What's Oort cloud? Okay, so all these terms you are familiar with. Okay, now know one more concept. I think 11 है 12 है क्या है ये 12 और 3 आप देख लो नंबरिंग जो भी है 11 है so now 12 okay so number 12 here is the concept of Goldilocks zone. ये क्वेश्चन पूछा हुआ क्वेश्चन है प्रीलिम्स में. The concept of Goldilocks zone is also called as circumstellar habitable zone, CHZ. The Goldilocks zone or the circumstellar habitable zone. Okay. Now see, for life, for existence of life, what do we need? We need atmosphere, gases, we need water, we need the right temperature, we need the right pressure, we need to have rocks and minerals. Okay. For life, what do we need? We need to have atmosphere and gases. As of now, we know that we need oxygen. Water बहुत important, and water in all the three forms. Ice भी चाहिए, हमें liquid भी चाहिए, and water vapor भी चाहिए. We need water in all the three forms. We need just the right temperature. We need just the right pressure. Okay. We need some rocks and minerals because they become the source of all building matter. You need to have silicon, you need to have iron, you need to have your minerals like calcium, you need to have sodium. Okay, we need all of this to have life forms. Okay, so for habitation, okay, a planet or a star or a satellite, for habitation, a planet or a star or a satellite must be at exactly the right distance from a star. Must be at exactly the right distance from a star. Neither too hot nor too cold. Neither too hot nor too cold. Okay. With all the right type of atmospheric and surface conditions. The right type of atmospheric and surface conditions. Because imagine this is a star. Say the sun is a star, and there's somebody here. If it comes a bit closer, all water gets evaporated and all the gas escape. If it goes a bit further off, all the water becomes ice. Okay. If it is further away, it probably will not have the right amount of gravity. So, एक position है. This position is, okay, this position जो है is just right. There is a fairy tale about three bears and a girl. उसमें ये story में है, okay, that there's something just right cold, just right hot, just right soft, not very soft, not very hard, not very cold, not very hot, एकदम just right. Just right जो idea है, this is taken from a fairy tale. I'm sure some of you have read this fairy tale called as Goldilocks and the Three Bears. इसमें ये term just right use किया गया है. That's why this position is called as the Goldilocks position, where everything is just right. Where everything is just right. So again, there are a lot of missions on this. In fact, the Hubble telescope bhi hai, the James Webb telescope, they all are looking for again this also. Kahan par we have the just right conditions for life to exist. Okay? So this concept is linked to, therefore, the Goldilocks zone or the circumstellar habitable zone is linked to discovery of planets and satellites. Is linked to the discovery of planets and satellites that are most likely to support life. Most likely to support life. Okay. So they have discovered one body called as Kepler 186f. This is considered to be in the Goldilocks zone. Kepler 186f is considered to be in the Goldilocks zone. In fact, इससे linked एक concept है, just know this, something called as Fermi paradox. इसका terms पता होना चाहिए, there's nothing else. A term called as Fermi, Fermi, Fermi paradox. Okay. It says, despite the billions and billions of planets and stars, despite billions and billions of planets and stars, where life can exist, it is surprising that we have still not discovered such a planet. It's called as paradox कि इतने conditions इतने सही हैं लेकिन फिर भी नहीं है. In fact, I down in one of the NASA missions, one of NASA missions has found that there may be more than 40 billion. There may be more than 40 billion Goldilocks zones. There may be 40 billion Goldilocks zones where life could have been possible. Where life could have been possible. Okay? And along with life, they're also looking for what we call as the presence of intelligent life, not the microorganisms alone, not just bacteria and algae, okay, or virus. They're looking for life which is intelligent, which can think, reason, the way human beings, Homo sapiens sapiens are, or the way the apes have been. We're looking for that. This was one question asked in one of the previous years. What is the concept of Goldilocks zone? Okay, now I'll give a list of some important missions. Important missions of NASA. Halaki, they are best covered under science technology, but I think you might as well know some of this. Important missions of NASA. Okay. The first one is the New Horizons mission. The New Horizons mission. Okay. दो तीन लाइन लिखो इसके बारे में. It is the first spacecraft mission to explore Pluto. The first spacecraft mission to explore Pluto. It has been sent to Pluto and the Kuiper belt. Sent to Pluto and the Kuiper belt. Remember the Kuiper belt just beyond Neptune? Pluto and Kuiper belt. I think आराधना 2014-15 का ये मिशन होगा शायद. मैं लिखा नहीं है मैंने. Okay, you can confirm it. I think 14 and 15 का मिशन होगा. Horizon belt ये वाला है. To Pluto and Kuiper belt. And the next one is Osiris Rex. Osiris Rex. R-E-X. X छोटा लिखना. Osiris Rex. Okay. This is to study how planets are formed. Study how planets are formed. It is going to bring samples of rocks from asteroid. Bring samples of rocks from asteroid called as Bennu, B-E-N-N-U, Bennu asteroid. B-E-N-N-U, Bennu. तो इसी साल आने वाला है 2023. Okay, I think August, September में ये पहली बार होगा that we are bringing back some rocks from an asteroid, from the Bennu asteroid, B-E-N-N-U. This is considered as one of the nearest Earth asteroids. The Bennu is one of the nearest Earth asteroids. The next important mission is Parker Solar Probe. The next is Parker Solar Probe. This is a solar mission by NASA. A solar mission by NASA. It will touch the sun. When I say touch का मतलब होता है, it is touching the outer atmosphere. It will pass from very near the corona of the sun. It will pass from very near the corona of the sun. Corona is considered the hottest part of the sun. It's also very bright, but not visible. Corona जो है सिर्फ सोलर इक्लिप्स में दिखता है. It is very hot. It is very bright, okay, but not visible because rest of sun is more brighter. Corona जो है is visible only during solar eclipse. So this solar probe जो है, it will pass from near the corona of the sun. Okay, it will fly about 4 million miles from the sun's surface. It will fly from near about 4 million miles from the sun's surface. Okay, so इसका main study होगा the study of the coronal heating. Corona hot कैसे होता है? To study coronal heating. It involves a lot of iron studies. Coronal heating. Okay. The next important mission that you should know is the Juno mission. This also has been asked in your prelims. The Juno mission. The Juno mission. This has been sent to Jupiter. Juno mission to Jupiter. Okay. It will enter the Jupiter's atmosphere. It will enter Jupiter's atmosphere. Okay. It is studying the origin of Jupiter and the origin of solar system. Study of origin of Jupiter and the origin of the solar system. And in our study of astrophysics, there are many theories about how Earth and how the sun was formed. The Juno mission right now tries to find out which of the theories about the origin of the solar system is correct. Which of the theories about the origin of the solar system is correct. Some of which मैं आपको आज नाम बता दूंगा आपको. What are the theories here? That is the Juno mission. Next is the Dawn, DAWN. ये बताया मैंने आपको. Dawn mission is again a mission to study the origin of solar system. Dawn is to study the origin of solar system. Dawn. And this has sent orbiters to Ceres and Vesta. These are the two large asteroids. These are the two large asteroids of the asteroid belt. Hadia asking me, difference क्या है between asteroids and meteoroids? Okay, let me explain this. क्या difference क्या है? And meteoroids, asteroids and meteoroids. So both of these are rocks. These are much larger, mostly. Okay. Asteroids, they are in reference to a specific belt between Mars and Jupiter. Okay. The asteroids होते हैं, ये rocks हैं. Rocks, these are larger mostly, small भी बनते हैं, but this term is used for the rocks which are between Mars and Jupiter. There is a proper asteroid belt hai. Whereas meteoroids, these are more randomly found in the solar system, in the universe. ये loose rocks हैं universe में, not specifically part of the asteroid belt. Okay. And meteoroids, if they enter Earth's atmosphere and they burn away, we call these as meteor shower or meteors. Okay. Meteors, also called as shooting star. And when they strike the earth, we call these as meteorites. ये difference है. So asteroids are very specific. एक belt में मिलता है आपको. There's one zone. The rocks in that zones are called as asteroids. Any other random rock, any other random piece of material, solar system में हो, outer space में, they're called as meteoroids. Some of them can enter Earth's atmosphere. We call them as shooting stars. They burn away. And sometimes they hit the surface. We call these as meteorites. All fine here, all of you? Okay. So let's get back. The Dawn mission is to study the asteroids Ceres and Vesta. Then another mission is the James Webb mission, the James Webb telescope. James Webb telescope. Okay, this is a large infrared optimized space telescope. ये technical words याद रखना. It's a very large infrared optimized. It works in the infrared spectrum. Infrared optimized space telescope. Okay. इसका भी objective है to study the origin of universe. To study the origin of the universe. So if you sometimes read, it will say the James Webb telescope studies the first light. It studies the first light. I hope you understand this. Like I said, there are supernova explosions, right? Something like Big Bang is happening. And usse light niklega. That light is coming from deep inside the universe. And it takes millions and millions of light years to reach us. So if I have a telescope, it can capture that light coming in. Okay, shayad the explosion happened, okay, some millions of years ago. But if I can capture it now, I can know what was the beginning of that particular event. The James Webb telescope tries to capture the first light, as in the light coming from the first explosions that created the universe. Something like, within bracket right now, something like studying the light coming from ancient Big Bang explosions. The light coming from the ancient Big Bang explosions. This was launched in 2021. हुआ था on the day of Christmas, December 25, 21 में launch हुआ था. इसका खासियत है, the shape is a very, it has that hexagonal reflectors हैं इसमें, which has gold plated. There are hexagonal mirrors and reflectors. Okay. You can always look at the net for what looks like. Okay, just know this much. Okay. इसके अलावा there is one more mission called as the Insight mission. Insight mission, NASA का Insight mission to investigate the tectonics activity on Mars. To investigate the tectonics activity on Mars. Okay. It will study the seismic activities. It will study the seismic activities inside Mars interiors. Inside Mars interiors. I told this to you. There are evidences that Mars has tectonic activity. ये सब चीज combine कर देंगे, you'll know that it's possible Mars can have life. The traces of water, tectonic activities, all these could become the precursors to developing manned missions to Mars. Insight है, और ऐसा ही एक और मिशन है called as Mars 2020 mission. Mars 2020 mission. Okay, it is mission to bring back rock samples collected by Perseverance rover. There is a robot called as Perseverance rover. The largest probe है on the Mars surface. This was launched in 20. This is collecting the rocks, and there is some mission to bring the rocks to Earth. तो एक तो हम rocks लेके आएंगे from the asteroids, and we're trying to bring back rocks also from the Mars. The Mars 20 mission. So these are more in news. Look this up. The next concept about the sun. Coronal mass ejection, in short called as CMEs. About the sun, coronal mass ejection. Yeah, online, all of you keeping pace with me. Most of these, nothing to understand really. You just have to know the terms. Do not go deep into this, please. My request to all of you. And how much deep you can appreciate if you see the question papers. ये कैसा स्टेट क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है, मैच द फॉलोइंग वन सेंटेंस में, एक वर्ड में. तो आपको बस होना है फेमिलियर. डोंट एंटर टू मच ऑफ डेप्थ. एंड मेनी ऑफ मिशंस, लाइक आई एम स्किपिंग द मिशन फ्रॉम इंडिया because they are covered under science and technology, the space programs of India. Okay, but ये जो missions है, okay, you might know a bit more because I'm dealing with the solar system. You do not need to know more than this. Just the facts, just the names. Yes, exactly. That's why Srishti will not overdo this. Jajati, all of this in science and technology. Okay, I'm just giving you some names, some terms here. Okay, ये news में था, so I'm taking this up. Coronal mass ejection. What happens is, this is the sun. Around the sun, there is something like the atmosphere, और एक boundary बाहर का layer है. This is called as the corona. This is the sun's surface. From the corona, what happens is, there are ejections. There are ejections. Something is thrown out. This is ejection of energy, of ions. There is something called as solar winds, जो निकलता है कोरोना से निकलता है. And this energy, these ions, they impact the earth. They impact a lot of phenomena on our earth's surface. Okay, so this can be a massive one. Recently, they found that on the sun's surface, there's a very large black spot, almost like a part of sun is missing. Actually, यहीं से ejection हुआ है. It's not that the sun has exploded, ऐसा नहीं है. It's part of this area where some energy is coming out. And it's very large. इसमें एक, I have recorded one YouTube video also on this. Solar winds पे. No, Meloman. You need not read all of this, any book. It's entirely a prerogative of current affairs based discussion. So no books for this, please. Go by this much. Okay. What I'm telling you is, लिखो write down now. The sun has distinct layers. The sun has distinct layers, which are part of the sun's surface and the sun's atmosphere. Part of the sun's surface and part of the sun's atmosphere. The outermost layer is called as the corona. The outermost layer is called as the corona. Corona is the hottest part with millions of degrees centigrade. Corona is the hottest part. It is millions of degrees centigrade hot. It's the hottest part. It has millions of degrees centigrade temperature. Okay. Corona is generally not visible because the rest of the sun is brighter. Corona is generally not visible because the rest of the sun is brighter. The corona is visible during the solar eclipse. ये मैंने बताया था पहले, आपको लिखा दिया यहाँ पर. It is visible in the solar eclipse. Okay. From the corona, there are events of energy and ion ejections. Energy and ions ejection. Within bracket, something like massive eruptions. Something like massive eruptions. इसलिए सोचो कि एक वोल्केनो हो रहा है, massive one. Something like massive eruptions. Write down. These ejections are associated with solar flares. Solar flare is like a flame, F-L-A-R-E, solar flare, and solar winds. Okay. Such eruptions, next paragraph लिखो आप. Such eruptions have a periodicity. They have a periodicity of 11 years or 22 years. of 11 years or 22 years and are part of sunspot cycle phenomena. Sunspot cycle phenomena. What happens is, if this is the sun here, again, every part of sun is not uniformly hot. Some part is hot, some is very, very hot, some is relatively cooler. हम ये कह रहे हैं कि ठंडा है, ये अगर बहुत हॉट है, ये इससे ठंडा है. Is very, very hot, this is cooler than this one. What happens is, so imagine there is a massive heating of the sun, massive heating, and there is ejection of matter. Some parts are relatively cooler and they look black and they look like dark spots. We call these as sunspots. So sunspots क्या होते हैं? Sunspots are essentially parts of the sun which are relatively cooler because the other parts have become hotter. Okay, imagine this is the sun here. Say the temperature of the sun is, say randomly, say is 4000 degrees centigrade. Because of activity, this part has become 10,000 centigrade. This part has become 15,000 centigrade. This part has become 7,000 centigrade. And the some part here is probably at 5,000 centigrade. The sun has become hot, some parts have become more hot, and some parts are relatively cooler. ये जो cold part है, ये दिखाई देगा as a dark spot. This cold part looks like now, okay, a sunspot. The sunspot appearing means the sun has become hotter, whereas some parts are not as hot. Remember that. So ये जो coronal mass ejection का मतलब क्या है? The sun has become hotter. There is massive or coronal, okay, ejections. कुछ volcanism हो रहा है. Associated are parts of sun which are relatively cooler. यही बन जाता है आपका sun spot. They're dark spots. Is it okay, all of you here? So the ejections, they are linked to the sunspots, and this happens 11 year के cycle में, 22 year के cycle में बंद होता है ये generally. Write down this one. Recently, there has been a massive coronal ejection. मतलब month of March, April की बता रहे हैं हम. There has been a massive coronal ejection, and linked to that, a very large dark spot on the sun surface. A very large dark spot on the sun's surface. It's almost like a part of sun is missing type का दिखता है. Let's write down. Such ejections can release massive amount of radiations and ions. They can release massive amount of radiations and ions which can impact Earth in different ways. Which can impact Earth in different ways. Okay, so जो solar winds हैं and the solar flares हैं, okay, what these can do is they can impact Earth's ionosphere. They can impact, okay, Earth's telecommunication. They can impact Okay. What's called as a higher frequency of atmospheric auroras. They can impact Earth's ionosphere. Ions के साथ interaction होता है. They can impact Earth's ionosphere. They can impact Earth's telecommunication. Okay. The solar winds, they can impact Earth's telecommunication. They can result in higher frequency of atmospheric auroras. Higher frequency of atmospheric auroras. Auroras क्या है? These are the brilliant display of light beyond the Arctic and Antarctic circle. In Antarctica, in parts of Norway, northern Canada में दिखाई देगा आपको. They are brilliant display of lights. Okay, and this happens because of interaction of Earth's magnetic field with the solar ions and solar winds. Interaction होता है अर्थ का मैग्नेटिक फील्ड का interaction with the ions coming from the sun, the ions coming part of the solar winds. We call this phenomena as auroras. They're called as aurora. Aurora north में भी होता है. They're called as northern lights, or they're called as aurora borealis. They're called as northern lights. North में होगा. Parts of Norway you can see it beyond the Arctic circle. They're called as northern lights, or also called as aurora borealis, LIS. Aurora borealis. और अगर साउथ में है, they're called as the southern lights, or called as aurora australis. Austral means south, boreal means north. Aurora borealis and aurora australis. So when you have got solar flares or winds coming, these phenomena becomes more common. Yes, correct. Okay, recently Ladakh में भी देखा है हमने, but that's not a regular phenomena. Okay, aurora borealis and aurora australis, northern lights and southern lights. What's the impact of the solar winds? But it याद रहे, right on this point here, that the solar winds and the solar flares, ये जो energy आ रहा है, they are not directly responsible for global warming and forest fires. They are not directly responsible for global warming and forest fires. ठीक है? This was a question last prelims में, that do the solar flares cause global warming or not? Do they cause forest fires or not? The answer is no. इसका हो सकता है indirect impact. That's a different thing. But directly they don't cause global warming. They're not as responsible for increase of temperatures. ठीक है? So coronal, and my suggestion to all of you is, I have shared one video on the YouTube. Okay, आप Edukemy YouTube जाइए and you can look at the coronary ejection. अभी न्यूज में था These kind of events, they become important for your prelims and the mains. There is a 10-minute video, I discussed it, what happens there. You can look at that and make some notes on that. Okay? Okay, let's move on now. Okay, now I'll quickly cover some of the theories of origin of Earth and universe. Okay, theories about the origin of Earth, solar system and universe. You need not know these theories in detail. Just know the names and what they tell us. Briefly, 2-3 lines, that's all. The theories about Earth's origin, the solar system and the universe origin. The first is the planetesimal theory. Planetesimal theory, MAL. Okay, it's about the origin of Earth and solar system from small rocks that are combined and fused. Small rocks that are combined and fused to become planets. Okay. In this case, the beginning is from rocks. This is also example of what's called as cold origin. Means the system was not very hot. Cold rocks थे and they fused together. वो जुड़ गए. Yes, the jati that's linked to that, correct. The geomagnetic storms are linked to these kind of ejections. Yes. Okay. This theory, planetesimal का मतलब होता है small planets. Small rocks are called as planetesimals. This was given by a man called as Chamberlain and modified by Moulton. Chamberlain, Chamberlin, Chamberlain and Moulton. ये cold theory इसलिए है because it does not talk about the system being very hot initially. ठंडा system था. There were some rocks. They combined together and they become whatever we have. A very old theory, planetesimal theory. The second is the nebular hypothesis. Nebular hypothesis. Okay. This was given by Kant and later by Laplace. Kant's idea is now rejected, but this man's idea is accepted. दो अलग थ्योरी थे. One was given by Kant's nebula और एक था Laplace. Laplace talks about the origin from dust and clouds called as nebula. Okay. Nebula, and the nebula was initially hot and then cools. Okay. The beginning is from the dust from clouds called as nebula. बताया आपको nebula क्या होता है? And this nebula was initially very hot, and then it starts rotate and starts to cool down. That's why in some ways this theory is exactly opposite of the planetesimal theory. That theory says there were rocks that combined. यहाँ पर there are dust that combines, the nebular hypothesis. This is still accepted by many scholars. इसको आप छोड़ दो, कांत वाला छोड़ दीजिए आप. The third theory is, okay, the tidal hypothesis. This was given by Jean and Jeffrey. Tidal hypothesis was given by Jean, Jean, Jean and Jeffrey. Okay. It talks about a hot, gaseous matter being pulled out of a large star. It talks about a hot, gaseous matter being pulled out of a large star. Let me explain this to you. There was a large star and there was a smaller star. This small star, because of gravity, इससे मैटर को खींच लेता है. Okay, it comes out and there is a massive matter which has come out. This star goes away somewhere, doesn't know where. Then this matter, this is hot, this is incandescent, means burning, this is gaseous matter. Our solar system is formed from this matter. This is the original star. This is what's called as an intruding star. कोई दूर से आया स्टार आया, इससे कुछ निकल आया मैटर. This matter is gas. It is hot matter. And this matter starts to cool down. So it says, okay, so the word tidal means gravity. Remember this. जो word tide है ना, जो word tide है, इस tide का meaning होता है gravitational pull. So because of this star, इसका gravity pulls out some matter and this matter becomes our solar system. Is it okay, all of you? So, hot, gaseous matter being pulled out of a large star. Okay, this matter. Okay, this, इसका नाम जो है, the pulled out matter is called filament, and the filament is cigar shape. ये जो बाहर निकला है, इसका shape is like a cigar. इसका नाम है filament. Okay, the pulled out matter is called as the filament. The filament is cigar shaped. आप हमारा सोलर सिस्टम देखो, अगर ये सन है, मर्क्यूरी, वीनस, अर्थ, मार्स, जुपिटर, सैटर्न, ओके, यूरेनस, नेपच्यून, ऐसे ये शेप्स. तो ये छोटा है, ये भी छोटा है, बीच में बड़ा है. अगर आप जोड़ देंगे ना, इसका ये शेप बन जाता है. This has been a mystery. Why are the two small ones very far away? The big ones are in the middle. So now the theory says, जो बाहर निकला था matter, it was this shape. So when this cools into planets, this became a small planet, this becomes a small planet. बीच में बड़ा planet. Earth is somewhere here. So the arrangement of the planet size, लिखा आपने all done here? Okay. This theory, लिखो. This theory tries explaining how the size of the planets are arranged in our solar system. It tries explaining how the size of the planets are arranged in our solar system. Is it okay? ये सब बनता है match the following. Which theory best explains the arrangement of the shapes of the size of the planets? It is the tidal theory of Jean and Jeffrey. Okay, that's why a few lines more on this. Then you can just know two more names. One is called as supernova hypothesis. Okay. Another one is called as the Big Bang hypothesis. The supernova hypothesis and the Big Bang hypothesis. This was given by a man called Hoyle. Something was there, it exploded. Hoyle's supernova theory. And the Big Bang is partly inspired by supernova theory. Supernova क्या होता है? I told this to you already. It's a star exploding. Super is very large. Nova means new, a new star. This is an explosion happening that creates whatever we have. इसी का एक form है the Big Bang theory. The Big Bang hypothesis. A massive, this is a massive, okay, interstellar explosion. It happened around about 15 to 14 million years ago, billion years ago. The Big Bang theory. Okay. So as of now, the Big Bang is considered to be the most acceptable one. The Big Bang is considered to be the most acceptable one. इसमें बहुत सारे questions. It is not the most convincing one, but most agree कि ऐसा ही कुछ हुआ होगा शायद. The Big Bang explosion. All fine here? That's all. You don't need more than this. So you had to know nebular theory, you had to know Big Bang, and a few lines on the tidal theory of Jean and Jeffries. So that should suffice as a part of your origin. इसमें से एक चीज याद रहे. An important point here is there are enough evidences about our universe expanding. ये बहुत important discovery है. There are enough evidences about our universe is expanding. Okay. इसका proof क्या है? इसका proof is something called as the red shift. The red shift. Okay. This basically change in frequency of radiations we receive. Change in frequency of the radiations that we receive. इसको बोलते हैं red shift. Some of you know this, otherwise very simple way में think of a train is going away or a car is going away. When I'm listening to it, how do I know the car is going away very far? हम जो आवाज सुन रहे हैं, I can see, no, the आवाज becomes very slow and very less eventually. Think of the whistle of a train. Okay, the train whistle का frequency change हो जाता है, then I know it is going away. If I'm having a glass or a bottle, I put water inside this. Water makes some sound. Okay, as the bottle fills up, do you realize the sound is changing now? That is a change of frequency. As it goes away, if I'm listening, the frequency starts to change. Okay, that is the phenomena we see. Yes, as universe expands, energy coming from the outer part and we receive it. Okay, what I'm receiving is, as universe expands, the frequency will start to change. Yes, you are right, Rohit. Physics में इसको बोलते हैं, okay, Doppler's effect. Doppler's effect. Okay, this tells us that the change of frequency is because of the universe expanding. This idea was first discovered by Hubble. After his name, we have the Hubble telescope. Okay, so redshift, Doppler's effect, and Hubble, the man who discovered this. In his honor, we have named the telescope as Hubble telescope. Okay? You should know this term, a bit of very elementary science technology. So this is a fact that our universe is expanding. All fine, all of you? So ठीक है, that's for the first class. Though we could have some discussions on latitude, longitudes, I'll take up tomorrow. No book reading for these. Just ensure that you summarize these points. There are set of facts. आपको पता होना चाहिए था, more like very elementary discussions and some amount of current affairs. I'll add something more on that. Wait. आज first day था आपका. Okay. You don't open any books for this. आप अपने एनसीईआरटी पढ़ते रहो, ठीक है? But for this, no books required, and I'll add as we have more of current affairs. ये online students, is it okay? Yes, आपके classes अब हर दिन होंगे. सुबह 8:30 onward we start. Okay, till 11 o'clock, just time now. Okay. Okay then. Fine. Okay, see you tomorrow. Don't miss the classes. आपका काम है घर जाके spend 1 hour to summarize this in lot more than 1 page. ये सारा कुछ एक पेज में make it compact. And come to class tomorrow with synopsis. Online students can submit. You guys can bring your synopsis and our team will check your progress and how you make your summary sheets. Okay, fine. Okay, then see you tomorrow, all of you. Bye-bye. Bye.